It's Aaron. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the shooting that happened in Odessa, Texas last night. Now, for those of you who don't know, basically a synopsis of what happened was there was a person of about 30 years old, a white male, that pulled up to a traffic stop, and instead of stopping for the police, they pulled out their rifle and started firing at them. This, of course, led to a high-speed pursuit where at one point the perpetrator ditched their original vehicle and stole a mail truck in which they decided to keep driving, and while they were driving it, they continued to fire out the side of the mail truck, killing several people and injuring many, many more. I believe that there were about 7 people that were killed and something along the lines of 21 to 27 people that were injured. Among the people that were injured was a 17-month-old baby that apparently had suffered a bullet wound to the face. Now, information about this is sparse. It's still very early on, so I don't know everything that happened exactly, but what I do know is that the baby or at least they're not in critical condition, they're at least stable, so that's good, but it doesn't do anything to help this situation. Now, that's basically the synopsis of what happened, and now I'm going to tell you exactly how everybody is going to react and how they have already started to react. Now, the left-wing liberal media is going to come out and say that this is on account of there being an immense amount of guns in Texas, and you need to start banning all guns, specifically AR-15s and assault rifles in general. And of course, then the left-wing liberal media are going to come out, the right-wing liberal media are going to come out and say, no, this is all happening because of a lone incident. It's a lone shooter. It was one person that was insane, but we don't need to do anything outside of just giving thoughts and prayers. And basically, my opinion is that all sides on this are horribly, horribly wrong when it comes to the media, and intentionally so. There's this narrative being pushed in the media that these are the things that we have to focus on instead of the actual problem. And a lot of the time it results in us paying attention to the symptom and not the cause. Now, the cause, unfortunately, is several-fold, like I've outlined several times in many other videos, specifically my one that I did recently about gun control and gun culture. It basically outlines how there are many different facets to gun culture that aid in this whole fetishism of guns and this idea of us having to take care of certain situations violently through violent means with firearms, and it shows that you're a man, it shows that you're powerful, it shows that you can take care of yourself. There's a lot of different factors involved with it, and all of those are explained in that video down below. But one thing that I didn't touch on quite as much is this whole aspect that a lot of the people that are committing these crimes are young white men of about 30 years old. And I don't think that that is necessarily an accident. I think that that is part of the propaganda that's being pushed out there in the mainstream media. And it's kind of like a self-perpetuating cycle. Now, young white males, they feel discriminated. They feel as though the world is against them. They feel as though they are being attacked a lot of the time because they listen to right-wing talk radio or Fox News, or they look at a lot of liberal news and they hear a lot of the same thing, that white men are creating the most problems, that they are the enemy, that white people in general are the creators of capitalism, and that they are the ones that are oppressing everybody, and so forth and so on. And it's creating this mentality within young white men that they can't do anything right, and they have to resort violently. Now, I'm not saying that this is exactly the mentality of the shooter in this specific instance. I can't tell you what the motivation of that person was, but I can tell you that in several other instances, specifically the Christchurch massacre and so forth, that is the mentality that's going on, and you can see that in the writings that they have done along with their heinous acts. It outlines how they feel like they're being oppressed, how they feel like white culture is being demonized specifically, and all of this stuff. So, and this isn't this isn't a bug. This is a feature, guys. It's really important when capitalism and the state is in its final death throes, when it's finally in late stage capitalism, for it to create an entire class of people that want to still support the status quo. And the obvious ones, the obvious targets, the obvious marks for that specific ideal is, of course, the white working class, the white middle class. It always has been. Back during World War II, it was the middle class, it was the petty bourgeois, that sort of thing. And now they're able to propagandize too through mass media, through social media, through the news and so forth. They're able to propagandize to white middle class working people of about my age that they are being demonized, they're being singled out, they're being targeted, and all of this stuff is just happening because the SJWs or whatever, the social justice warriors, are trying to destroy our idea of freedom and remove our ability to have freedom of speech and this thing and that thing. So it's creating this mentality in a lot of white people's, specifically white men's minds, that they have to act out violently, that they have to commit these heinous acts of murder. So it's disgusting, and I think that it is actually partly partly because of the propaganda that's being pushed on these individuals, making them believe these terrible, heinous things. And like all of you out there know, ultra-nationalists, you know, the fish people, they protect the state. They always have. They are basically the antibodies that come about whenever the state is being attacked. They have to come out in full force, and they have to basically create this kind of pandemonium to save what little power the state actually still has. Sometimes it works in the benefit of the state, obviously, and sometimes it works in the detriment of the state, but for the most part, it works to perpetuate this idea of oppression and state control. So yeah, hopefully that wasn't a little bit too rambly, and I feel terrible about this. It's just another mass shooting in a long line of mass shootings that have happened lately. So definitely I give my condolences to all the family members that are out there, and hopefully we can actually start focusing on the actual problem, the root of the problem, instead of just all of these symptoms. So thank you very much for watching. My name is Aaron. Check me out on Patreon. Every dollar helps fund the show. Thanks for watching.